All right. Welcome to another episode of Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I am your host, Anthony Miglerino, along with Zach Small from the Family Alpha. Brother, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me on, Anthony.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. And today's topic, we're going to dive into it. It's about comparing yourself, your family to other families. Right? We talk about living an intentional life, being authentic. And we see this a lot. We see it with social media. We see families living, let's say, shall we say, lies, right? Not who they truly are. And a lot of it is keeping up with the Joneses. But, my perspective is a lot of it has to do with not truly being happy. And we put on an image, we're showing people what we think they want to see. So, Zach, I'd really love to get your ideas about this. I know you have a lot to say about this topic. So let's hear it.
It, it's definitely one of the more frustrating elements to being a creator online is when I focus extremely hard on authenticity, on being who I am, doing what I do. And one of the things you don't see is you don't see my wife online. She doesn't like social media. She doesn't have any reason for it. She has her own little thing that she's doing, which is primarily focused on makeup and hair, but she's not in my world because she doesn't want to be. And so why would I ever force her to be a part of something like that? We're living our lives. And what I see, especially in the family side, because that's where we're focusing, I'll share some stories about my kids, kind of what we're doing in our lives. And people will reach out and say, that must be nice. Or I wish my kid was like yours. Or my wife would never do that. Almost as if there's something wrong with their family being different than mine. And when I look at other people, I look at your family, mutual acquaintance, Phil Foster, I look at his family, all the men in the FOE, I see their families interacting. Never does it cross my mind that my family isn't good enough for being like other people's families. My family is my family. We have our strengths, we have our focuses. And that's not to say that there aren't notes to be taken. I learn from you guys all the time. I see some fun things you do, be it we did that video on vacations, but I see you go somewhere. I'm like, oh, my family would love to go to a place like that. We love the outdoors. Or, oh, I see how they started working out with their kids and a different approach they took to help them focus on this versus that. Maybe stretching instead of just going right into the lifting. How do you get a kid to want to do that? And I'll learn and I'll apply that. But never, ever do I sit there and say, oh, my kid should be better at coding because that guy's kid codes. Or I wish my daughter was more this or that because that guy's daughter is this or that. You see, I don't compare my family because all I do is invest in my family. There is no comparison to it because there's no other small family being led by Zachary Small. My wife, Jacqueline, we work together to raise our children. We do things our way. And when I see people try to do things my way, they'll try to replicate you. They'll try to replicate these people they see either on TV or online. It's a disaster because they're trying to be something they aren't. And what frustrates me the most, and then I'll kind of get off the soapbox, is we talk about men being their authentic and true selves. And these men are on board. Yeah, let's go. And they don't have the courtesy to give their family that same permission. They tell their family they need to be something they aren't. I'm trying to make content online. I need you to start wearing a dress and then a sundress and then make sure that you get this perfect pose while you have a bonnet in your hair so we can check all the Chad boxes, make sure our kids are wearing these perfectly clean, aesthetically pleasing clothes without a speck of dirt on them, but talk about how they're very active outside. It's just insane the pressure they put on their family. It's insane the lifestyle they try to live. It's damn near LARPing or cosplaying, It's like they're dressing their family up as props as opposed to really investing in who their individuals are within their family.
Yeah, I think about right what you have to do to build a healthy family, right? All the time and energy and commitment that goes into it. And when whether it's you're comparing your family to others or you're comparing yourself as a man to others, right? There's elements to that we don't want to recognize or we don't want to understand. And what I mean is, when you how am I going to put this? When when you see a man doing something and you want to achieve what he has, or you want to be capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with him, right? You have to be honest about where you're at. You have to have a real level of expectation of where you can go, right? Because to achieve excellence, whether that's within yourself or within your family, you're not going to get there if you're lying about what's going on, right? Or what level you're at or what your capabilities are. So I see this, and I'm just using the example of a man because I see this within families, right? Where I've gotten and what I've done with my family has taken a lot of hard work. It's taken a lot of commitment and dedication. I've read a lot of books on parenting, on peaceful parenting. I've studied for hours, right? And I've applied these things to my life. So I've applied it to how I raise my children, raising them peacefully, not not raising them with violence or aggression, but more so looking at myself and saying, how could I become a better man? How can I garnish more peace and wisdom from within, so I can show my kids what that looks like? And I think when you see families that are squared away, or you see families where you see that they seem happy, right, or they actually show that they're happy, you should want to attain that, right? It should be a goal that you want to do the work and actually create this great environment within your home. Um, it's I think what sidetracks a lot of men is they think that they can instantly get it, or that if they show it, kind of like if you believe it, it'll happen kind of mentality. Which I am a proponent of believing, good thoughts and good things will happen. But I think an underlying issue is there's a lot of people who are afraid to do the work, right? They're afraid to have hard conversations with their kids. They're afraid to talk to the wife about what needs to be changed and what needs to be done. So they'll put on an image, right? They'll put on this false image of what people want to see, when behind the scenes they're not doing the work. And I would say that if you really take the time to do the work, if you take the steps, man, it's so worth it. The products that you build, and what I mean products, I mean your family, right? Your kids, and that time being spent, and the people that you're creating and that you're building within your home, it's amazing, right? So I guess it goes back to, don't put on an image, actually do the work and work towards creating something that's beautiful within your family.
As you were saying that, I was thinking of the uniqueness of each person that either I engage with, I follow, I interact with on a daily basis. And they're all bringing their own thing. Everyone that's successful is doing their own thing, and it's unique. And you see the people copying it. You see the people that try to emulate it, and you can tell it's like the inbred version. It's like the eyes down here instead of up here. Like it's everything's the same, but something's off. Like there's something not quite right. And it's because they're uncomfortable. If you put me in a tuxedo on this, I wouldn't come across as much as just a forebear hoodie, because I'm in my home office. I'm just saying, I'm just sitting here. No, you're being authentic, man. And I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking, like, some of the examples, so Sean Whalen, he had something with one of his sons. They were out there shooting. And I was like, oh, that's badass. You rarely see me sharing photos shooting with my kids. That's something that we do. We have the land to do that, and we have several times already shot, and I've never shared a photo of it. I don't think when I saw that photo, I was like, oh, I need to go grab a photo of my son and put a gun in his hand and get a photo. Like that, it never even crossed my mind until now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, there are people who probably watched that and threw an AR in their kid's hand, like, all right, let's get a photo. And the kid's like, what the fuck, Dad? We never shoot together, Or think about Ryan Mickler. Ryan Mickler's son just started a podcast. How many people do you think see that? They're like, oh, Mike, all right, son, you got to start a podcast because we're going to be father-son duo and we're going to attack. Dude, my kid doesn't want to run a podcast. He wants to play and be with his friends. Like, why would I put that? And that's not a shot at Ryan. It's I support what he's doing, but that's the Micklers are doing it their way. And that's why it's successful. They're not trying to be anybody they're not. They're doing their thing. But you're going to see people, I guarantee it, who are going to follow Sean, and they're going to make their kids start shooting more because Sean's kids shoot. They're going to make their kids podcast because Ryan's kid podcast. People are trying to copy what they think is successful instead of giving themselves the level of respect due into where they should look at their family and they should make the decision. What do you want to do? It doesn't necessarily need to be shared publicly, but what do you want to do? How can I support that? I don't care if you see or support or have anything to do with what the hell I'm doing with my wife and kids. Like we are doing our thing. That we will always do our thing. But I see stuff like these, like I said, the Whalens, the Micklers, you, the Fosters. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what's the message there? It's not the podcast. It's not the gun. You know, it's not peaceful parenting. It's not fitness. It's the elements of those things. It's the value of that thing, the value of following your passion, the podcast, the value of investing in your body. Those are the takeaways that I get. And then, like, how can I show my son, my daughter, my wife those same values without trying to put them into a mold? Well, I give them the value and allow them to express it their way. And so for my kids, you know, we work out, but you're not seeing me push. Look at us working out. Like every now and then I'll drop one because it's just in the moment. Same thing with peaceful parenting. Every time I don't hit my kids, I'm not sharing it. But some guys, they'll see you and they think, oh, I got to show Anthony. I've got to make sure he knows like how happy we are. And you can see in the smiles in their faces, like, that's not real. Your family doesn't even know why they're taking that photo. They don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You've just been acting weird because you followed a bunch of new dudes on Instagram. And that is where I'm seeing the issue is people are comparing their family and it's always from a not good enough position. Oh, we're not good enough. My kid's not muscular enough. My especially sons, he's not masculine enough. I need to make him harder. My daughter's not feminine enough. I got to make her more. She's gonna wear a dress 24/7. My wife isn't the social media standout of making babies and I don't know, go to church. You know, like why are you so quick to pick your family apart in comparison to another family? Why do they have that status in your life to where you aren't good enough? Unless you mentally are still that inferior man trying to keep up with the cool kids in high school. And that's what it all boils down to.
Oh, man.
You're still not good enough. And you want to fit in and you want to be like just like the people that you like.
Shit. Fake it till you make it.
So they never make it. They're just faking it.
Yeah, no, that was shit, man. That's a good point, right? Still, for some reason, still looking for the affection and attention of others to give you value in the world, right? To tell you it's okay to be who you are, even when you're not happy being who you are. Man, what a
and you won't be happy being somebody else because
no.
that's still fake. You understand? They're not connecting with you. They're connecting with who you pretend to be. So you still don't even get the validation that you're seeking.
Yeah, and how easily is that passed down to your kids? You know, like you said before, you start forcing your kids to fit molds that are entirely foreign to them, right? Like, why would I want to do this, Dad? Shut up. We gotta, this is what we do as a family, whether you like it or not. Yeah,
gotta get the photo.
No, it's insane, man. If you really think about it, right? And this is why it's important to raise your kids peacefully, right? It's why it's important to break those generational wounds, right? That we're not just keep repeating this process. And we, as men, I firmly and strongly believe that we have a responsibility and we have a moral obligation to be the best that we can be. That includes physicality. It includes our mental health. It includes our emotional health, right? How we project onto others. And this, to me, this is a part of that, right? Is if we're so insecure and we're so filled with fear, we are going to force our kids to do things they don't want to do because we're controlled by that fear. And now we're allowing it to control our kids. And, this is going to show up in so many different dysfunctions in their life. I see a lot of men, describing what you were saying, Zach. They're lost. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to be. They don't know how to go about it. Think about how painful that is for a child. I'll let you explain.
No, the dogs are friendly, but think about it. They're looking at their dad, who's supposed to be the leader of the situation. You're the man. You're constantly saying, "I'm the man." You want the respect. You want the submission. You want the compliance. You want the obedience. You want all these things to be beneath you for you to clear the path for them to follow. And you're bringing them to the same place you were, a life of inadequacy, a life of perpetual trying to keep up, a life of mediocrity. Instead of investing in you, and there are universal truths. You should be physically fit. You should be mentally sound. If your child is obese and you see Elliot Hall sharing his kids working out, and you see him, instead of thinking, I should be like Elliot, think, oh, he has made fitness look at how he was able to get his kids to enjoy working out. Or look at these steps I could take from him. And instead of saying, hey, kids, we're going to work out because that's what Elliot does, we're going to say, hey, we're going to go for a hike as a family. You guys love outdoors. They don't understand that you're putting them in rough terrain that's going to get them in a steady state of cardio. You're burning calories. You're helping them. You're hiking more than you ever did, not because you want to see more trees, but because they like hiking and they need to start losing some weight. And replace that with whatever. Your kid's not athletic. You see other kids out there crushing it, doing these amazing things with their sports, and you're like, well, my kid just likes to code. It's the mindset. You should instill that, hey, son, you can code better if your body's more efficient and functional. Let's make this your competition. Let's go win coding competitions. Let's enter rocket building competitions and launch those suckers into the sky. And that's what I would do. If my kid wanted to build rockets and not play sports, we'd build rockets. We'd still work out together. And I would tell him how that comes together. A strong body is a strong mind. You can think more efficiently when your body's processing things a little bit better without sledge in it. And that's kind of how I would spin it. But I would never think that I need to take my kid and put him into archery because I see somebody else doing archery. He would stick to coding. And that's the thing, dude. You will never make it. You will never, ever make it if you're faking it.
Sorry, man. I had to mute. I don't want to see the audience see the aggressive side of me yelling at my dogs, not peacefully. Oh my God.
I went on a good rant, man. How much time do you need? I've got at least 15 more minutes in me.
No, I will say one thing that stood out, or that stands out to me on this topic. If we compare ourselves to others and we set on this mission, or we teach our kids to set out on this mission that's not real, that's not genuine, it's not on the path that they want to go down, right? We have enough trouble navigating life. It's difficult. It's, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's great. I think that
this is a good test. This is good.
Yeah, focus. This is great. Let's focus. Stay focused. No, so I think what happens is you have these outcomes, and a lot of times we set our kids up for failure, right? We set things for them that they'll never achieve because they know that it's not their mission, right? It's not where they want to be. It's not what they want to do. So they're never going to get good at it, really, right? It's never going to be successful in that field or in that area that we're pushing them. On the other side, you have kids, like those, let me backtrack. Those kids give up and they feel worthless and they have low self-worth and low self-esteem. On the other side of it is you create a kid who will do things where he's pushed, even if he doesn't like it. So I immediately thought of like the guy who goes and works a job for 40 years so he can retire and start to enjoy his life, right? He puts himself in a position and he can wake up every day and say, I got to grind. I got to go. I got to get shit done. And he could actually be successful in that, but it's destroying his soul. So these are things that I try to have my children go down their own path, right? That authentic self, that true self, whatever you want to call it. And I really want them to focus on what it is they want and not compare themselves to others, not to see what other kids are doing. If my son goes to the gym, who cares if a kid's lifting more than him? Focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you love. Focus on what you're building. And I think that's where success comes in, right? And we can break down these illusions of what it means to be successful based on what other people do. If we focus inward, that's where the real battle is, right? That's who we have to, that's the person we have to convince that we're really doing great things is ourselves.
Yeah, kids are truth seers, man. Like they see the truth and they know if you're trying to connect with them or if you're using them as a prop. They know it. Kids are very, very, very good at that. It's similar to where they know like underlying tones. They catch up on these small cues and they know if you're just trying to get a photo because you want to share it online or you're trying to get a photo because you want to put it into the memory bank to look back on later in life. They know if you're pushing them to do something because other people want to do it or because you want them to do it and not if they want to do it. And I've learned this just in my life with sports, school, sitting down and talking to the kids. I've had to make it a point. Like you do what makes you happy. Don't ever think that mom or I, not that we don't care, but like, don't ever think that our love for you is based upon, or it's contingent upon your performance in an athletic endeavor or academic success. Like we love you for you. And if you suck at math, you suck at math, whatever. If you want to play baseball, cool. You want to build rockets, cool. Like I just want you to do what you want to do. And I think, or is it my hope, I guess, I hope that this leads to lessons later in life. Like you're saying, you won't tolerate a boss paying you less or treating you like shit. You know, you won't tolerate a spouse or let anybody into your life who's not going to align their values and support the things that you support, because you're not going to sacrifice yourself to make somebody else happy. That's just not what we do. And you don't sacrifice yourself to make mom or dad happy. You don't sacrifice yourself to make your spouse happy. You don't sacrifice yourself to make your job happy. You don't sacrifice yourself to make society happy. You do you. And you see kids sacrificing themselves for their father so he can get his electronic points. And that is what kills me. That is what drives me insane. Because you could have, it's like taking a beautiful flower and smashing it down so you can get a good photo. And it's like, what, you had a beautiful flower. You killed it for that one photo of it smashing. Like, why? Why would you do that? Because the internet wants you to? Because you want to share a point because some other dude did it? Stop trying to be another dude and own who you are. You'll never be better than me at me. You'll never be better than Anthony at Anthony. You could be the best you, but you suck at that because you're not even trying to be you. You're trying to be everybody else, and you suck at that too.
Oh man. So I'm gonna have to start comparing my obedience of my dogs to others, though. That's one thing I got.
Notice I have 2 dogs. You've not heard them in one episode.
Get 2 more, and then we'll talk.
Double the fun.
No, man. Listen, it's all life lessons. I think it's important to note we should always be conscious of how things affect our kids, or how our actions, how our thoughts, and how our behaviors ultimately, reflect down to our kids. So we always have to make sure, right? We always have to audit ourselves and see if the things we're doing, if they're really helping us grow, if it's an image that we're putting on, if it's something that's actually pushing us down, right? It's what we need to be aware of. And, it's important to have like-minded men around you as well. This is something that we talk a lot about, accountability. I was talking to my kids the other day, and my daughter was about to say something. She goes, "Oh no, forget it." And I said, "You know what, Belle? Say what's on your mind, right? One day you'll be dead, and you're not going to have that opportunity." And she just kind of looked at me and let it flow, right? Who cares? Say what's on your mind. Speak what you're experiencing in life, and try to live with as much authenticity as you can.
She didn't say anything bad about Oak and Rock Fatherhood, though, right? She said your YouTube
Absolutely
channel's
not.
awesome.
No, it wasn't anything that she was holding back to hurt my feelings. It was just whether she should actually say it or not, or if it was relevant to the topic. Now, my kids have no shame in what they speak.
That's good, man. And it's one of those, it's a gift. We talk about the Father's presence. Well, that's the present you give when you are present. When you are truly authentically present, you allow your children to be the same, and they'll argue. There will be conflict. You'll butt heads. That's the way it should be. That's how you grow. Stress causes growth. Stress there's a healthy stress. There's a stress when you disagree with your son, your daughter, your wife, and you both can come at it not from like pitchforks out, but like, hey, why do you see it that way? I want to see it through your eyes, and I want you to see it through my eyes, and maybe we can come together and better understand each other, and then choose our course. I've changed my mind because of both my kids and my spouse. They've changed their minds for the same reasons. So when you look at it, when you understand and trust the person that you're speaking with, you will trust them too, that their opinion, their view is coming from a good position, and they are doing what's best for you as well as themselves. And so that trust, if developed, makes it a lot easier for conflicts to be had, because I'm not mad at you. I just disagree with your thoughts. Our thoughts aren't jiving, but as people, we still jive. We're still cool.
Word. All right. So if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, subscribe, check out Oak and Rock Fatherhood. Me and Zac are going to be making these videos all year. It's 2022. We got a long way to go. Brother, I look forward to this journey with you. And this has been another episode of Oak and Rock Fatherhood.